This is the news at 10 on Nta News 24. We are reaching you live from Abuja. I am Stella Inameti. Thanks for joining us. Now on the headlines. All is now set for 11th session of South Africa-Nigeria Binational Commission. Nigeria and France sign Memorandum of Understanding on Critical Mineral Value Chain. Banking, telecommunications and aviation sectors face panel over possible violations of consumer rights. Plus, Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics commences 2-week warning strike from December 2nd. Thanks again for staying with us. Now the news in full. President Bola Tinubu is on his way to Cape Town, South Africa to co-chair the 11th session of the Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission, BNC, alongside President Cyril Ramaphosa. The session, scheduled for Tuesday, December 3, will be preceded by a ministerial meeting on December 2, 2024, at the South African Parliament building in Cape Town. President Tinubu and President Ramaphosa will engage in substantive talks on a wide range of issues of mutual interest, including bilateral, regional, and international matters. Building on the commitments from their June 20, 2024 meeting in Johannesburg, shortly after President Ramaphosa's inauguration for a second term in office, the two leaders will review the progress achieved since the 10th session of the BNC held in Abuja from November 29 to December 1, 2021. The 11th session of the Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission will feature deliberations across 8 working groups, each focusing on a specific area of mutual interest. These include political consultations, consular and migration, banking and finance, defense and security, manufacturing, social sector, mines and energy, and trade and investments. A statement by the Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, indicates that at the high-level meeting, officials of both countries will sign several memoranda of understanding and agreements. The Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission was established in 1999 to further strengthen the ties of friendship and cooperation between the two nations. As the 11th session of the Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission begins on Tuesday, the state of Nigeria-South Africa relations is on the front burner, and the trade imbalance and how Nigerians fare in South Africa. To speak on this, we have joining us now former Director News at the Voice of Nigeria and currently part of the Deutsche Welle Nigeria office, Ben Shemang. Welcome to News at 10.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, President Tinubu is doing a lot to improve Nigeria's relationship abroad. Some have indicated that South Africa relations is being threatened by diplomatic challenges. Let's begin with the issue of trade. How would you describe the level of trade between the two countries?
Well, in terms of trade, it's not too clear as to balance of trade. Which country imports more from the other? But all the same, you see that South Africa, MTN virtually is South Africa, DSTV is South Africa. You also have some banks that are of South African origin here in Nigeria. In similar manner, you have South Africa importing crude oil from Nigeria. They are doing like the same way with cocoa and many others. In terms of security, Nigeria imports so much from South Africa, to ensure that they have equipment to fight the insurgency. But recall that the days of President Goodluck Jonathan, about 9.3 billion US dollars was seized by South Africa because Nigeria wanted to buy arms to fight insurgency, but every other place was blocked by EU, by America. So South Africa became where Nigeria would get these arms. But unfortunately, they said they went through the window again. But that again has been resolved, especially during the days of Buhari, where South Africa and Nigeria ensured that the money that was meant for Nigeria was actually returned to Nigeria. But again, you could see that at the point, South Africa even took Nigeria to court. And when the then President Thabo Mbeki came to Nigeria and was trying to ensure that there was a smooth landing, Buhari said, look, you took Nigeria to court. Let therefore that be resolved. But again, the use of the alternative dispute resolution came on board, and that was resolved amicably.
And interestingly, you know, Africa has over time sought a slot on the UN Security Council. Many undoubtedly expect either Nigeria or South Africa to get this slot. How can both countries manage these tensions in the interest of the continent?
Yes, let me simply add that the request has always been a kind of a tripod, that Nigeria is there, South Africa is there, and Egypt is there. If we have 3 slots for Africa, I mean, the world will not collapse because Africa is there. But again, Nigeria takes the lead because we're talking of, if you look at the history in terms of ensuring that there is world peace, global responsibility, Nigeria has always been there. Is it the Congo War? Is it the Burma War? Just name it. Is it Bosnia-Herzegovina? Is it Liberia? Is it Sierra Leone? Is it Chad? Nigeria has always been there. And in terms of peacekeeping, you realize that Nigeria has always either supported the cause for peace, and if you even go to South Africa, in the fight against apartheid, remember, the days of Obasanjo, the British petroleum was changed to African petroleum because of crisis. The then Margaret Thatcher would not allow South Africa to be independent. Therefore, Nigeria became a member of the contiguous frontline states. Nigeria could supply money to all these states that are bordering South Africa to ensure they fought and ensure that South Africa became independent. If therefore justice is to be done, the support Nigeria gave to South Africa, it is time therefore that if 2 countries are supposed to be, then it should be Nigeria, South Africa. But when they are supposed to be 3, then let it be Egypt, Nigeria, South Africa, because if you look at some of the racial divides, Egypt can take care of the Arab world in Africa. Then you come to Nigeria, of course, Nigeria is a power block that you cannot just wave aside by mere wishing. Then South Africa, yes, because of the infrastructure they inherited via the apartheid regime, they have standard, and we expect that, yes, because many countries still import even arms from South Africa. But even as President Tinubu is there, we also think that now that we have the Defense Industries Corporation, they have started churning out what we call the MRAPs, mine-resistant personnel carriers. They are there in Kaduna. They've been commissioned to fight the insurgency, especially the days of Buratai. They are called Mzogu because the general then who created them, just retired. So if government can also ensure that much money is sent, pumped to these areas, they create these things, they manufacture some of these things, AK-47 or any other assault rifle that could be used in terms of fighting against insurgency, and also export. So this is where Nigeria can also begin to do some peer review mechanism. What is it that South Africa is doing well, that Nigeria is not doing well in terms of arms manufacturing? They share some notes, and therefore we come out stronger and better.
Okay, following these deliberations and efforts by President Tinubu, many Nigerians are still worried about the way Nigerians are treated in South Africa. Can you tell us what this means for the continent?
Yeah. Honestly, when I tested that kind of a relationship, when I was still in service, I had to go for an exchange program with South African Broadcasting Commission. Then someone also came from South Africa to take care of, to sit on my seat here in Nigeria. So it was never easy at all. And Nigeria will always be abandoned anyhow in South Africa. I faced that thing. But the lady who came in here was treated as a queen, you know. But again, this thing you call xenophobic attacks. Before South Africa could have what they call their own independence, come out of apartheid, you see, many of these people had their studies either in Nigeria or some other African countries. So when they got independence, I'll put it that way, you realize that they were not experts in estate management, they were not experts in hotel management, they were just down there because the apartheid regime just placed them there. So Nigerians moved in to teach them quite a lot. The doctors moved in, lawyers moved in, you know, and the South Africans simply woke up to realize that everything has to do with Nigeria. Why should it be so? It has to be stopped. Then the economic crisis in Zimbabwe also sending some people on exile, refugees, or let me put them in that way, put it that way, to South Africa. So the South Africans had this fear of Nigerians, then Zimbabweans, and the greatest of them all was Nigeria. As far as they were concerned, Nigeria was just grabbing and taking everything and therefore even employing them. If you go to some areas of South Africa, Johannesburg for example, you just see that Nigerians are dominating. Even the police, before they enter some areas, they just know that, look, they have to be manly enough. So the Nigerian spirit is always there, that of dominating, but not dominating in such a way that it puts fears into you, but it makes you know that some people are here. And I tell you that one day that Nigerians will come back as a part of this diaspora and build a nation that is virile, strong, and as a very responsible member of the international community. That is the spirit of the Nigerian.
Okay, to solve some of these issues, what impact has the Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission made on the relationship between the two countries?
Yeah, you see, when these two presidents meet, they are meeting on equal footing. And that's why they are co-chairs, the two of them. None is a chair over the other. They are co-chairs, people of equal minds, people of equal status. Therefore, we expect that most like IBTC, Stanbic Bank, these are South Africans. We expect to see that more investors will come in terms of mining, in terms of even making raw materials of finished products from raw materials, mining in particular. South Africa has an edge over us. In terms of the military, we've spoken about that. They have an edge, it appears, over us. So these are things that the Nigerian government should take to the negotiation table, to the talking, and that becomes the talking point. We expect that the president must have gone there with what do you call the organized private sector. Where are the investors in agriculture? Where are they in terms of ICT? Where are they in terms of education, medical? Every field, the environment, even mining itself. So we expect that Nigerian experts must have gone there and meet with their counterparts in South Africa. When there is a return match, it should just simply be that, yes, we should be able to eye-mark. I always put it, not earmark, eye-mark. We see what has been done so that the world will know that this binational commission between South Africa and Nigeria is working perfectly.
Okay, thanks, Ben Shemang, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Former director, news at the Voice of Nigeria, and currently part of the Deutsche Welle Nigeria office.
Thank you.
Nigeria and France have signed a memorandum of understanding to develop joint projects to promote and diversify the critical minerals value chain in the solid minerals sector of both countries. In the memorandum of understanding signed by both countries on the sidelines of the official visit to France by President Bola Tinubu, both countries agreed to collaborate on research, training, and Franco-Nigerian students exchanges for knowledge and skills transfer. A key component of the MOU is the promotion of sustainable mining activities by executing projects and programs that reduce the environmental impact of mining on carbon emissions, water consumption, and climate change. It also includes the establishment of joint excretive and processing projects through co-financing by public and private entities to diversify and secure the supply of critical minerals and decarbonize energy projects critical to the value chain. Dele Alake signed for Nigeria, while the interministerial delegate for critical ores and metals of the Republic of France, Benjamin Gazot, signed on behalf of France. The MOU is expected to open new opportunities for the remediation of over 2,000 abandoned pits in the country through its plan to intervene in environmental rehabilitation and post-mining projects. This is the news at 10, reaching you live from Abuja. Still ahead, Brazil-based businessman caught with ingested cocaine during NDLEA interrogation. Welcome back. The Nigeria Customs Service is sustaining its commitment to strengthening Nigeria's position as a trade-friendly nation through effectiveness customs services. Comptroller General of the service, Adewale Adeniyi, said this at the 2024 CGC Awards ceremony in Abuja, an event to celebrate professionalism and unwavering commitment that birthed another year of records, exceeding the annual national revenue target of 5 trillion naira. Oluseye Adiagbo was at the event and filed in this report.
It is a gathering to reflect on all-round year efforts that have given a facelift to the Nigeria Customs Service, which has been in the vanguard of trade facilitation. In November 2024, the service announced that it has collected 5.7 trillion naira in revenue, exceeding the 5 trillion naira target. And for the custom boss, each individual here has made an indelible mark to these and other achievements.
Our mandate is still the same. Everything that we needed to do to generate revenue for the country, make our country safe, and improve the environment where business is conducted, we will ask every officer and men to do more of that in 2025.
Through a well-designed center for a dinner night with lightning displays, it is an evening of acknowledging support, with the CGC Awards presented to key players that have contributed significantly to ensuring efficiency of the nation's trade and border security, as well as for gallant customs officers and men.
The Nigeria Customs Service has done quite a lot to the Nigerian economy.
Let me, however, remind you that the recognition you are getting today serves as a catalyst to continue to strive for excellence in service.
We support them a lot with all forms of motivations, and they have been able to do tremendously in the areas of revenue generation.
1% of our patients in the custom hospital in Karo are civilians, and therefore that's part of the service corporate social responsibility. And so today we are very happy that we are serving the community and will continue to do more.
Excellent service by the Nigeria Customs Service in collaboration with other agencies in combating wildlife crime. That's what this award means. It is actually to Nigeria. It goes to show that, all the achievements, all the efforts we've made in Nigeria is recognized.
While the awardees are quite fascinated with the recognition and pledge to keep playing parts that will realize the core objectives of the service, comes the climax of the awesome evening, parading Nigerian entertainment stars. And the bank is with Chinedu Okoli, better known for his stage name Flavor, as the floor opens for dance, and it's indeed party after party. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, Nta News.
Let's now join our correspondent, Haman Jabani, for a situation report on the review of the impact of Nigeria National Anti-Corruption Strategy 2017-2021. Good morning, Haman. What can you tell us now?
Yeah, good morning. Nigeria developed anti-corruption documents in 2016, and over the years, government and other agencies have been trying as much as possible to see the implementation of that document. And the Bureau of Public Service Reforms, and in collaboration with People Limited, put up this workshop to see how far Nigeria has been able to see the implementation of these documents. Standing with me is Mr. Kizito, who is the head of the branch of that limited. Sir, can you tell us what are your findings?
Okay, so we found during the study a number of things. Particularly, the impact study was about trying to understand the last NACS report. That's the last National Anti-Corruption Strategy that was developed, which has been implemented and was between 2017 and 2021. We did this study to try to find out what has been the impact in terms of institutional impact, what has been the impact in terms of the impact on the society, what has been the impact in terms of public service as well. And so we asked a number of questions to the non-state actors and the state actors. Findings we've seen is that findings, the essence of this validation of those representatives of those non-state actors and the state actors to then look at the findings and come to our final conclusions in terms of the recommendations, exactly what was found. But the initial finding is that, of course, it has had some impact, some level has been implemented to one extent. Some of the initial activities that were planned, some of there's still room for improvement, obviously. But then in terms of the impact, it's had some positive impact. A number of stakeholders would definitely wish it would have had a lot more impact, but of course this is the first implementation of that particular strategy in the country. But there's a lot of lessons to get from this particular implementation in terms of how well it's been implemented and how well it has impacted. And that can be translated into the next, because of course there's a new NAC strategy in play right now. The hopes is that the lessons learned from this in terms of what has worked and what has not worked so well would help to then strengthen the implementation and impact of the next strategy, which is presently on.
Okay.
We apologize for the loss of audio in that part of the report. And now moving on, after 35 years in Brazil, a businessman based in the South American country has returned to Nigeria with 700 grams of cocaine in his stomach. This is among other illicit drug busts in some parts of the country during the week. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim tells us more.
The 59-year-old businessman was arrested on Friday, 29th November 2024 at the E-Arrival Hall of the Lagos Airport upon his return from Sao Paulo, Brazil. After a plenary investigation which confirmed foreign substance in his stomach, the suspect was placed under excretion observation, during which he expelled 29 wraps of substances that tested positive to cocaine, weighing 700 grams. The suspect claimed he operates an African store in Brazil where he sells provisions, shoes and clothes. In Kano, NDLEA operative on Thursday, 28 November, arrested 3 suspects with 2,000 ampoules on pentazocine injection and 3,135,000 pills of Exol 5 at Gadar Tamburawa Zaria Road. Similarly, no fewer than 2,120 kilograms of Ghanaian loud, a strong strain of cannabis produced in Ghana, were intercepted by NDLEA operatives in Lagos on Thursday, 28 November. With the same vigor, Command and formation of the agency across the country continue their war against drug abuse, among other sensitization activities in public places. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, says an investigation into consumer complaints targeting major players in the banking, telecommunications and aviation sectors is scheduled to commence from December 3rd to the 5th, 2024. The inquiries aim to address allegations of poor service delivery, exploitative practices and violations of consumer rights. A statement by FCCPC's Director of Corporate Affairs, Ondaje Ijogu, revealed that the banking inquiry will focus on Guaranty Trust Bank (GTB) over recurring issues such as network failures that restrict customer access to funds and banking applications. In the telecommunications sector, MTN Nigeria is under scrutiny for frequent complaints about delivered data services, unexplained data depletion, and inadequate customer support, while reaffirming its commitment to protecting consumer rights and encourage the public to report poor service delivery or exploitative practices through its official channels. The Commission noted that the engagements aim to address consumer grievances, ensure regulatory compliance, and foster accountability. These inquiries are authorized under various provisions of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act, FCCPA 2018, which empowers the FCCPC to investigate practices that harm consumer rights, disrupt fair or foster unfair competition. Companies involved are expected to appear before the FCCPC to clarify practices and provide necessary information for resolving complaints. We'll take a short break now. We'll be back with more news. Stay with us. Welcome back, and now more news. Kogi State Governor Ahmed Usman Ododo has sympathized with victims of the recent boat mishap that claimed the lives of some passengers who are indigents of Kogi State. Governor Ododo, who expressed sadness over the boat accident, said he was particularly concerned that most of the victims were women, petty traders and artisans who are involved in legitimate business activities to earn a living and contribute to the economy of the state. The governor noted that the waterway linking Kogi and Niger State was becoming increasingly dangerous as a result of frequent boat accidents and called on relevant authorities to ensure that safety measures are put in place to minimize risks associated with water transportation in the country. Governor Ododo, who commended the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, for its efforts in search and rescue operation, called for concerted efforts through interagency collaboration to prevent cases of waterways accident and to enhance emergency response management. He commiserated with the families of those who lost their lives and assured that the government will support those injured in their recuperations. Zamfara State government is set to make the HIV test compulsory for all intending couples in the state by the year 2025. Secretary to Zamfara State government Abubakar Mohammed Nakwada made this known at a press conference in Gusau as part of activities to mark the 2024 World AIDS Day in the state. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
The state joins other parts of the globe to celebrate the 2024 World AIDS Day, which is commemorated on 1st December each year. This is a press conference convened by Office of the Secretary to Zamfara State Government, Abubakar Muhammad Nakwada, as part of activities to mark the day. The SSG, represented by Permanent Secretary Cabinet Affairs, says though Zamfara remains one of the states of the Federation with the least prevalent rate of the HIV/AIDS, additional measures have been put in place to further stem the spread of the virus in the state.
A bill has already been introduced. It was an executive bill. It is now on second reading, and from all indications, by the turn of next year, maybe early next year, a law will be signed. The bill will be assented by His Excellency and become a law, making it compulsory for individuals planning to marry to have a mandatory, HIV/AIDS test.
Zamfara State has so far recorded 12,772 documented HIV/AIDS cases, as medication for those living with the virus is free throughout the state. Some of the survivors of the HIV/AIDS in Zamfara State have appreciated the support of the state government and the development partners, even as they advised other carriers of the virus to come out and receive the free medication. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Meanwhile, activities marking this year's World AIDS Day, observed on the 1st of December each year, climaxed with an appeal by the Director General of the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, Dr. Temitope Ilori, seeking the support of religious leaders to partner with NACA in prevention spread of HIV/AIDS. The Director General was speaking at a special Thanksgiving and Awareness Church service held at the First Baptist Church, Area 11, Gariki, Abuja. Rosemary Muteleng Bilal reports.
Against HIV/AIDS should be a collective responsibility. Hence the need, the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, took the awareness campaign to places of worship. Director General NACA, Dr. Temitope Ilori, stated that the collaboration with religious leaders will help in reducing the nation's HIV/AIDS prevalence rate, which is still high.
We go everywhere. We actually do go to the markets, we go to the mosque. On Friday, we're in the mosque. We go to the community through community leaders, but we come to the church because we work through faith-based leaders, because they are an authority over their congregation, and we believe that they have a voice to be heard and respected. So we want them to help us to propagate that message that HIV, people living with HIV should be loved. They should be shown compassion. They should be shown empathy. They should be supported so that they can stay on treatment.
DG NACA disclosed that efforts are being made by the agency not just to halt the spread of HIV/AIDS, but to achieve zero prevalence rates in the nearest future.
Unfortunately, Nigeria has the highest number of children born with HIV. So that is a major issue that we're tackling, and that is why we're preaching this message that every woman should seek antenatal care, should deliver in a center where they have skilled birth attendants, should know their HIV status, and should start medication if found positive.
Senior Pastor, First Baptist Church, Area 11, Reverend Tom Takpotore, said the gospel on prevention of HIV/AIDS remains the most effective means of controlling new infections, stressing that the church was honored by NACA to host this year's awareness and Thanksgiving service, describing the visit as timely.
As a church, we try to encourage and we'll try to work with not just NACA, with also partners of NACA towards eradication, towards helping in treatment, and towards helping in caring and in encouraging those who are HIV positive as well to try to be compliant with their various treatment regime.
The theme for this year's World AIDS Day is Take the Right Path, Sustain HIV/AIDS Response, Stop HIV Among Children. Rosemary Moltelen Bilal, NTA News.
Still on World AIDS Day, the clock is ticking and the fight against HIV/AIDS is far from over. The Society for Family Health joins a global chorus advocating for human rights and access to essential services, amplifying the call to action. Take the right path to end the AIDS endemic. Correspondent Ibrahim Dan Amidu takes us through the events marking this year's World AIDS Day in Abuja.
The Society for Family Health is calling on Nigerians to take responsibility for their health, emphasizing the importance of safe sex practices and personal hygiene. According to their message, abstaining from sex is the best way to prevent HIV and AIDS. But for those who don't abstain, using protection and maintaining good personal hygiene is crucial.
We know that people are actually scared to come to the hospital, to come to the facilities, to talk about HIV. That's why we brought it down to them where they are relaxed.
We want to tell them to play safe. We can't stop anyone from having fun, but we want to say do it the right way.
They can actually still have fun, have a lot of pleasure while keeping safe.
So please, as we go out there, the HIV and AIDS we're talking about is still real.
This is a sensitive topic that most people don't like to talk about. So we're here to sensitize the community that protection is very relevant.
They encouraged Nigerians to get tested, know their status, and take steps to protect themselves and their loved ones.
I believe that so many people have forgotten about it. So with this now, they can know that HIV/AIDS is real.
I think everybody has to know that there is definitely a chance of getting an infection.
The Society for Family Health's message is clear. Take control of your health and take responsibility for your actions. In Abuja, I'm Ibrahim Hamidu, NTA News.
And away from HIV/AIDS Day, the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, has commenced a 2-week warning strike from December 2, 2024 in protest over what the union describes as unmet long-standing demands. The decision follows a National Executive Council meeting held in Abuja, where leadership of the union frowns at negligence in addressing issues crucial to the welfare of polytechnic lecturers and institutions.
No release of the needs assessment intervention funds for 2023. Appointment of a rector for Federal Polytechnic 1 unit has not been addressed despite our union's demand. Also, the appointment of rectors in the following institutions: Federal Polytechnic Damaturu, Federal Polytechnic Nasarawa, and Federal Polytechnic Oil and Gas Boni, have not been released, even though the process has since been concluded.
President of ASUP, Banja Shamar, says that the union's demands span several administrations
and other critical stakeholders in the sector on the 23rd of October 2024, where an action plan was developed to address the issues in contention within specific timelines. Unfortunately, as of today, we can only attest to the resolution of item number 4, which is the intrusion of the National Board for Technical Education in the regular functions of academic board with regards to the admission of higher national diploma students. And item 2, non-review of the contentious and suspended document titled Schemes of Service for Polytechnics.
The Middle Belt Youth Forum says politics should be used to solve political crisis rather than division. This was part of resolutions at the forum stakeholders engagement in Abuja. Former presidential candidate Dr. John Dara, among other speakers, believe that time has come for the Middle Belt zone of the country to be the pace-setter of Nigeria's political landscape.
We must rise up to the challenge, because at a point in the history of the Middle Belt, the emancipator or the fighters of the Middle Belt went cold to a point that people don't even hear about the Middle Belt. But now the crop of young men that are coming up felt, okay, they need to know. Now, by the knowledge and the experience they have now, we believe the struggle for the Middle Belt will start. Now, the struggle for the Middle Belt is not about the Middle Belt nation. It's about the unity of Nigeria.
The time has come for us
to be the pace setter in the polity of Nigeria. And that's why our young people need to understand where we are coming from 1951 to date.
They unanimously agreed that the teeming youth population has a responsibility to drive the desire of the zone to become key drivers of the country's affairs in all spheres of human endeavors by uniting as a formidable force. At a time of high cost of living and when food prices are skyrocketing, a green revolution may just be the answer. Speaking as guest preacher at the ordination of priests and the 35th anniversary Thanksgiving of the Anglican Diocese of Abuja, Most Reverend Joseph Akinfenwa commended First Lady Oluremi Tinubu's grassroots initiative, Every Home a Garden. He emphasized its potential to combat food inflation.
Throwing in a competition, a challenge to all the women to bring about a garden, a farm. I mean, ask every head of family to do the same. And then, when this food is so much everywhere, the prices will come down. Then you government take a second look at our Naira value. Can we do something about it?
The event was not just about sermons and social advocacy. It marked a spiritual milestone for 14 deacons and 2 priests. Ordained by Primate of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, Most Reverend Henry Ndukuba. The Primate also serves as the Bishop of Abuja Diocese. Amid Nigeria's current economic challenges, Primate of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, Most Reverend Henry Ndukuba, has called on citizens to hold onto hope and trust in a brighter future. Speaking at the 35th anniversary celebration of the Abuja Diocese, Ndukuba urged Nigerians not to lose faith despite the nation's struggles. His message was one of resilience and collective responsibility.
We know that as the Lord has helped us in the church, God has also helped us in our nation. In due season, the Lord will lift this nation.
Must be accompanied by action. The Primate, who also serves as the Bishop of Abuja, called on leaders to manage Nigeria's resources prudently, emphasizing that transparency and accountability are key to rebuilding trust between the government and its people.
Around our fortune is industrialization, creating jobs for the teeming youths and our citizens. When they work with their hands, they will contribute their little taxes.
Ndukuba's message serves as a reminder that even in the hardest times, hope, faith, and good governance can pave the way for a better Nigeria. In recognition of their service and dedication in the house of God, the pastor in charge of Redeemed Christian Church of Nigeria, Galadimawa area of Abuja, has presented gifts and awards to church workers at the parish. Thomas Ogbetere reports that the last program of this nature was 2 years ago.
Workers' Appreciation and Award Dinner started with songs of praise, dancing, and worship to the Almighty God. In a short message by the pastor in charge, Pastor Steve Odesomi, Christians and Nigerians were admonished to be faithful and diligent to God and humanity.
What we're going to give you tonight, the certificate, the reward, whatsoever you're going to get tonight is not important. What is important is that if your eyes are closed in death tonight, if the trumpet should sound tonight, what you have done, the pastor is acknowledging you, is heaven acknowledging you.
Evelyn Jewel Ashade won the Best Workers Award in her department, while her husband also won Best Workers Award in a different department. To Evelyn and her husband, they were only doing God's work
to the best of their ability, not knowing that the church's authority was watching their efforts.
Do something for God. As man is recognizing you, God in heaven also will do so.
Other members of the church say, although the ultimate reward comes from the Almighty God, however, this type of gesture from the pastor will spur them to do more in the house of God.
So we brought them here today to say thank you, we appreciate you. We know the ultimate thank you comes from the Almighty God.
But it is also still good for you to have human commendation that we see what you are doing.
And so it's a time for us to come together as one and fellowship with one another, appreciate what God has done in our midst.
The choir is filled. Even if you can sing, we are still going to send you to another department where your service is needed, because we expect that you should serve anywhere you find yourself.
Apart from award for the best in each of the 10 departments in the church, each worker was made to go home with a certificate of honor and a gift pack. In Abuja, Thomas Ogbetere, Nta News.
Gloriousness and wonders that revolve the birth of Jesus Christ and its essence on humanity resonated in songs, messages, and other colorful activities as the major national
24 FRCN, NTA, and VON service of 9 lessons and carols is the 28th in the series, which signals the beginning of the Yuletide. The service takes the congregation through 9 passages from the Old and New Testaments of the Bible, with the 8th reading taken by the Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, which highlights the birth of Jesus Christ and its significance.
And when they saw the star, they rejoiced with the exceeding great joy.
All the lessons of the evening tell the story of the fall of humanity and the promise of the Messiah with songs presentations. Messages from the clergy, the wife of Nigeria's President Oluremi Tinubu, including the Minister of Information, enjoin Nigerians, especially Christians, to take the lessons of the season at heart by promoting the nation's unity and stability.
So Jesus is our victory over sin, victory over self, victory over death, victory over Satan, but he's also victory over burdens.
I implore you all to let us imbibe the spirit of Christmas, which is of love, of joy, of fellowship and harmony with one another.
Let us intensify our efforts to build a Nigeria where everyone is valued and respected, regardless of their faith or background.
Finally, let me use the opportunity to appreciate the NTA, FRCN, and VON for putting together this year in, year out. And honestly, it is an example to other organizations. We have to continue to remind ourselves of the importance of working together.
All the ministrations elucidated that Nigeria must be in peace and harmony. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, Nta News.
The Bayero University Alumni Association has held its annual gala night, bringing together distinguished alumni, university officials and guests for an unforgettable evening of celebration and networking. Held in Abuja, the event was a vibrant showcase of the strong bonds formed during the university's academic years. Suleiman Abdul Wahab reports.
1988, wow, you can see, that's how many years ago.
The atmosphere was lively, with alumni from the 1980s, 1990s, 2000 to the present day, joyfully exchanging fond memories and playful nicknames such as Giwa, Gen Zs, and ancestors, reflecting the strong camaraderie among them. The gathering not only allowed attendees to reconnect and reflect on their shared experiences, but also fostered a sense of amity, creating lasting professional and personal relationships. It was a memorable evening that celebrated the unity and growth of Alumni Network. Those who were honored with awards recognizing their dedication and support. In Abuja, Suleiman Tabu Abdul Hab, Nta News.
You're watching the news at 10 on Nta News 24. Another look at our top stories. All is set for 11th session of South Africa-Nigeria Binational Commission. Nigeria and France signed Memorandum of Understanding on critical mineral value chain. Banking, telecommunications and aviation sectors face panel over possible violations of consumer rights. Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics commences 2-week warning strike from December 2nd. Still ahead, latest on Nigeria Premier Football League. And now sports. Ikorodu City trashed Aqua United in Nigeria Premier Football League Match Day 15 tie and moved to 3rd position on the MPFL table. Let's join our sports desk for details of this and more.
Ikorodu City moved